Hey there everyone, how's it going? Today I'm going to be working on this Honda HR194. The problem with this lawnmower is that when you start it, it dies immediately and it only runs on full choke. However, this applies to many push mowers that are carbureted that may have this same issue. So stick around and I'll show you how to get it done. I'll start with the basic simple checks first, by checking the inside of the fuel tank for any debris, which there appears to be some, and the fuel filter, which is the stem poking inside the tank that also looks to be clogged. Then I will check the air filter housing for any debris and the air filter itself for any airflow restrictions. This air filter looks to be in really good shape. However, there is some debris in the filter housing, which I'll go ahead and address later. For now, I will go ahead and remove the 5 blower housing bolts. They all take a 10mm, however, some are longer than others. So I make sure to keep them in order so I can put them back in the correct spots when I go to reassemble. This will eliminate any confusion. Before I get too far into this, I'll go ahead and let you know that I'm trying to get this engine back to running on a budget, so spending as little money as possible. I got the mower for free from my neighbor as it wasn't running for him and he didn't want it anymore, so I thought this would be a good challenge, and I only put $30 into it. Now I will remove the fuel tank. It takes a 12mm. During the disassembly of the fuel tank from the fuel line, I did break the fuel line and the fuel filter. This is okay because I can replace them with higher quality parts. I'll go ahead and remove the crankcase ventilation tube from the air intake and the side of the engine at the crankcase. Then I'll remove the 1 bolt holding the air cleaner to the engine and the 2 nuts that hold it to the carburetor. All 3 are 10mm. With the hardware removed, I can go ahead and remove the air filter housing. Then I will remove the gasket. Then check that all the linkage is working properly. Now I will go ahead and remove the linkage assembly from the engine. They are all 10mm. However, they are all different lengths, so I make sure to keep them in order to eliminate confusion for when I reassemble. Then I will remove the grounding wire from the magneto. Now it's time to remove the carburetor assembly from the engine. Then after that, I will remove the linkage. Then I can remove the fuel line from the linkage assembly. There is 1 clip holding the line to the back of the plate. I use a bare needle nose to squeeze the tabs in so I can push it through the hole. Now I will go ahead and clean out the air filter housing by shaking out most of the loose debris, then using a can of compressed air to get the harder stuff that may be stuck on. Then with a paper towel that is dampened with water, I will go ahead and wipe off the entire housing. After that, I will grab the fuel tank and go ahead and fill it up with water. Then I give it a good shake to make sure I get all of the debris loosened up. Then I will take my finger off of the delivery port to let some of the water drain out. This will test the vent on the cap to make sure it is working properly If the vent is clogged, the water would not flow in a steady stream. As you can see here, there are 2 vent holes on this cap. I'll go ahead and pause right here for a moment to tell you I forgot to record me taking out the pilot jet on this carburetor. So how that is done is that you will remove the idle set screw and then pry up on the jet with a pair of pliers or a flathead screwdriver to remove it, and to clean it is the same procedure as the main jet. So now we'll move on to the carburetor, and I will go ahead and take the bowl off. This will also take a 10 millimeter. As you can see, I found a lot of rust buildup on this bolt. That is not a good sign. The bowl also has a lot of rust buildup. Now I will go ahead and remove the float and fuel inlet needle. With that removed out of the way, I can go ahead and remove the main jet with a flathead screwdriver, being very careful not to strip or round out the jet. This jet is completely clogged, just like the idle jet was. I will go ahead and use a piece of brass wire and carburetor cleaner to clean out the hole. The fuel bowl was completely rusted out, and it ended up having 2 little rust holes ate into it as well, but no need to worry, I will be able to fix this. This is the float and fuel inlet needle after it has been cleaned up. This is the main jet after cleaning out the hole with the brass wire and carburetor cleaner. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but it is completely clean. Here's the wire that I used. It's off of a wire wheel, but you can also use a piece of copper wire from electrical wiring, and then carburetor cleaner. So this is the carburetor after cleaning it up, cleaning out all the holes and surfaces to make sure everything is free of debris. I want to take a minute to show you these screws that hold on the fuel shutoff valve cover. They are called JIS, which stands for Japanese Industry Standard. They take a special bit that is not a Phillips. So be very careful not to use a Phillips on these, as they will round out. Now I will go ahead and reinstall the main jet by tightening it down until it seats. It does not need to be heavily torqued down. And now I can go ahead and reinstall the idle mixture valve. With the float and fuel inlet needle reassembled, I'll go ahead and give it a couple tests to make sure it is sealing properly. This one here is giving a little bit of trouble, but it's not too bad. It should be replaced. However, I can use the fuel shutoff to keep it from overflowing the carburetor. Now, I will use a little bit of Permatex putty for fuel tank repair to go ahead and seal up the holes on the bowl. With the carb cleaned and back together, it is time to go ahead and reattach it to the engine, starting with the linkage. Do note, I am reusing the gaskets as they are not ripped or torn and appear to be in really good shape. Now I will reinstall the bolts that hold the throttle linkage to the engine. Then I will go ahead and test the linkage assembly to make sure everything is working properly. Now I'll go ahead and reattach the magneto ground wire. Reinstall the gasket in between the carburetor and air filter housing. Then install the air filter housing and tighten down the hardware that mounts it to the engine and carburetor. There was one part of this carburetor I did not disassemble, which is the emulsion tube, which was stuck pretty bad on this carburetor. I didn't want to take a chance of breaking it and not being able to get the engine back to running. With that all in place and the fuel tank reattached, I will go ahead and put on the blower housing cover. And reinstall the hardware. And here is the new fuel filter and fuel line. Now I will go ahead and reinstall the crankcase breather tube after repairing the hole with some rubber cement. Now after adding a little bit of fuel, I'll go ahead and check the oil level. The oil level is a little bit low, however, there's enough in the engine to test run it.